Good evening, and welcome to another episode of a crystallized experience with Crystal. I know that it's been a moment since I've actually been on, but there's been a lot of transition in my life, which some of it's on Facebook, some of it's not, most of it's not. um, I want to just jump straight into what I wanted to speak about tonight because this one has been really heavy on me, and I have not spoken about it because of how sensitive it is. I want to speak tonight about anger, and not necessarily anger in just grieving, but just in anger. Those of you who do know me know that I have battled anger. Anger outbursts, anger isolation, anger in general, words. I am the typical angry woman. Honestly, I told you all from the very beginning of this vlogging that I would be extremely transparent, and which means that even things that are extremely embarrassing to me, I want to be extremely open and honest about, because I wanted to help somebody. The entire purpose of all of this is to make sure that others understand that they're not alone. You're not on an island by yourself. You're not doing anything incorrectly. As long as you're learning from your mistakes, and you're trying to do better, or you're at least acknowledging that what you are doing or have done has been wrong, and you need to correct that. Anger. I had to take a second and deal with it. And so what had happened was I was in a really peaceful place, and through a course of events, anger began to slowly find its way back into my world. And I didn't understand why, because I didn't have anything to be angry about. Well, he wanted me to talk about anger. So how can you talk about anger when you're so peaceful? So sometimes when he wants to affect change in your life, he will cause some things to happen so that you can have a point of reference. Which is so funny because we have no idea that we're always in the midst of learning something. When I got that, when I understood that as long as I continue to learn, and I don't always think I've mastered that goal and really went past it, like, no, there's a point A, point A1, point A2, point A3. You don't get to master it here on earth. The only time you master it is when you go to heaven. So I understand that I'm always learning, but let me just be really clear. Anger has many faces. Anger has a very quiet face. Those who are quietly angry are some who are very, very angry. When you have no words, when there's absolutely nothing that I can say to you, means that I am in a place of anger that I cannot even explain to you. People who are more vocal verbally normally are not somebody that is really a threat, because vocal and the outpouring of anger, you know where they stand. You know exactly what's going on with them. But when you don't know what's going on with somebody, that's what's scary. So when you see your children isolating, when you see your spouse isolating, when you see your family members separating themselves, when you have not heard from someone in a long time, and that's not necessarily just depression, but sometimes you could be so angry. And anger can come from grief. It can come from disappointment in not actually achieving a goal that you really thought you were going to be able to achieve. It can come in relationship where if I just cannot get my spouse or my partner to understand where I'm going or what I'm speaking of. There's a shutdown that can happen, which is worse than the vocal part. Because I promise you, when you're vocal, everybody knows where you stand. I had an issue with anger. I was at a point in my life very quiet, very passive. In the first marriage, I was extremely passive. It was whatever went. It just went until it bubbled over and it became very vocal and very violent. Honest. Very honest. Which at that time I had to be because my quiet was taken for granted. So then in the single life, as I went through singleness, I was bitter, angry, pissed. And so therefore everybody I encountered, I was angry. In my businesses, I was angry because I felt like, well, why won't they pay me like they pay everybody else when they sign the contract to come and do this service with me? I was angry because people lied to me multiple times. I was angry because what was presented to me was fake and false. That I no longer trusted people's words. I no longer trusted even actions, because at this point you trust only none of what you see and only half of what you hear. Some people say half of what you hear and none of what you see. However, vice versa. However, but I was so angry at what I had put my trust in. I didn't trust. I didn't. I had lost. I trusted God. That's the crazy. That's the really serious part. So I trusted God, but I didn't trust people. Smiled, laughed, encountered, dealt with, did not trust. Very clearly did not trust very close people. I would allow people to be very close to me, but they had no idea that I was always still like, okay, until I see it. And so you have to be careful in grieving too, because in grieving you get very upset because you think, how could you not know that I'm grieving right now? Didn't you just see what just happened? How could you not know why I'm feeling what I'm feeling? And then how can you tell me how long I can do that? How can you tell me the process that I need to do it? How can you tell me how long I can do it? How can you tell me what I'm supposed to feel? How can you tell me when you've not dealt with anything that I'm dealing with, and then you tell me what I'm supposed to do? How about you sit in my shoes and then tell me what I'm supposed to do? I'll wait. That was me. And those are words I would use. Demeanor. You have to be careful. Anger will go so far that your children will watch you be angry and they will become angry and they don't even know why they're angry. You have to be mindful of being angry in the wrong environment, because people will begin to give you that persona, and that's who you become. I became the angry chick. Man, don't say nothing to Crystal. Man, nobody want to hear all that she got coming without me. I don't want to hear that. Don't even ask her. Don't. Just let it go. Because she coming with a sermon and she gonna cuss. That was me. I ain't saying I'm that far away from it. All I'm telling you is anger is real and you have to be careful with it. You have to manage it, identify it, give it its respect, put it where it's supposed to be, and leave it there. Call on the name of God and ask Him to soften your heart Ask him to clear your mind. Ask him to give you peace, because anger kills. Anger also causes high blood pressure. It causes heart attacks. It causes brain aneurysms. It causes all types of ailments. You have to be mindful. Your body responds to anger. When you're upset, your whole body responds. Your muscles begin to contract. Your breathing changes. Your body temperature changes. I could tell you real quickly. My face begins to get flushed. My hands begin to shake. My back begins to get tight. Then now I can't sleep at night because now I've been angry all day. Also, the other part is be careful, because anger doesn't come down easily. Problem I have with anger is when I go up there, I stay up there. Like, it could take me a long time to come down. I had a conversation with my brother about this the other night, and he was talking about how some people can be very frustrated with him because he doesn't necessarily get as angry as quickly. But that's because he's identified what anger does to his body. And he decided that I refuse to do that because it scares me, because I don't know what's going to happen. I could have an aneurysm. I could have a heart attack. It's multiple things that could happen if I'm angry. And I was like, oh, you're so right. You're so right. And so I even have a friend who does the exact same thing. He says, I cannot afford to be as angry as I used to be in my 20s, because I can't come down from it. And if I come down, if I get up there, I am still angry 2 or 3 days later. And that's not fair to me, because the people who I'm angry with have gone on. They on to something else, because what they did was come in, change the course of your day, the character. They've showed a different character of who you are, and now they're going on to go and wreak havoc with someone else. But you're left with trying to defend yourself because you got angry. In counseling, I had to deal with that. I had to talk to her. We had to talk back and forth. She sent me home with homework to do about what write down what makes you angry. And I was like, what you mean? What makes me? I don't know everything. And in that activity, I had to identify the things that upset me. And they're called triggers. What are my triggers? One of my triggers, we laugh about it now, it's not funny, is being called a certain name. I do not like this particular name that I've been called, and it's a very common name. It's not my name though, and it's not a nickname that I have accepted. It was not a name that I've actually accepted or even wanted. And so anytime I was called this name, even in playfulness, I would get upset. Even to the point of causing me to have anger outbursts, heavy anger outbursts. And so I had to watch that. I had to go back and speak with my counselor about my triggers, because of that being such a traumatic time period when I was called that, I had to go back to the source, and I had to heal. I had to find the healing place for that. I had to ask God to help me heal that, because it was starting to cause me to really it was bad. And so grieving will cause you to do that. If you start to remember certain things that happened during the time period of your loss, and other people don't understand why that upsets you, that stuff can anger you to a point of how insensitive could you be not to understand that this is the week that my mother passed. I'm talking about angry, mad, ticked off that people have moved on, ticked off that people left and did not do what they said they would. I can't stand when people tell me give me a call if you need me. Really? Normally when people need you, they're not going to give you a call. Because truly, when I'm in need, I'm trying to figure out how to get out of the need. I don't have time to call you. I have had issues with anger, with the truth. True people's words are a big deal for me. I'm a words girl. So you have to be very careful with words with me, because if you say the wrong thing, yeah, I hold on to words, and I've had to learn to release that. I'm really particular about, if you tell me something, I truly believe that, and I give you the benefit of the doubt until you show me otherwise. But when you show me otherwise, normally there's no coming back from it. And those are the areas where I've had to go and ask God to help me. Those are the areas where I've had to go say, God, please don't make me or allow me to be a bitter woman. Don't allow me to be a bitter, grieving woman. Don't allow me to be a bitter, grieving mother. Don't allow me to be a bitter, grieving ex-wife. Don't allow me to be a bitter, grieving employee. Don't allow me to be a bitter, grieving business owner. Don't allow me to be a bitter, grieving church member. It's serious. We just don't understand how much we truly battle anger in all areas of our lives. So I wanted to take this time to talk to you about anger, because I don't think we truly give it the respect that it's due. I think that we are a generation who has begun to just sweep everything under the rug. I believe that as soon as this happens and then something else happens, we just move on to the next thing, and we never get over or heal from the thing that actually hurt us. And so then it causes us to be angry and bitter. And so I just wanted to share with you that just be mindful of your anger. Be mindful of how you use your words. Be mindful of what you do and who you deal with, because they can pull some really ugly stuff out of you that's unfair to you and even unfair to them. Be mindful of how you treat people, because you just might have to see them again. Listen, we still dealing in moments, not days. Moments, not weeks. Moments, not months. God is a very good God, and He's taking such good care of us. We are His children, and we need not to be angry. He is the only one who can be angry. Vengeance is His. His wrath is way bigger than anything we could ever throw out there. So, and when you find yourself being angry, stop. Slow down. He said, be slow to wrath. Be slow to wrath. Be blessed.